Leadership is the art of making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence, says one of the best quotes. Hello, listeners. Here is Giridhar, and you are listening to the podcast Giridhar's Garady. Today, we have someone who is smart, cool, humorous, and most importantly, a passionate personality, an amazing and creative writer, and above all, a strong leader. On this note, let me welcome the guest for today's episode, Pavan. Hi, Pavan. Welcome to Giridhar's Garady. How are you doing today?
Hey Giridhar, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, thankfully, gratefully, I'm doing good. And I'm glad that everybody here who's listening to this podcast and you are happy and healthy.
Great. Thank you so much. Pavan, just one question before we start. How do you feel like being a guest on this podcast?
Certainly, this is my first time I can say that I've been on stage addressing people, college students, or even the corporate leaders, and I've also been online addressing, talking to meetings, but never been on a podcast yet. So I think this is my first time. And yes, so far so good.
Awesome. All right. So, Pavan, what is this leadership all about?
Well, if you say what is leadership is all about, I I can't describe that in one word. But if you ask me what my definition or what I believe is, it is definitely not a hat you wear or a role you play, or it is not just a responsibility that you take up and then once you fulfill it, you're going to leave it. But according to me, if you say what is leadership, it's a quality within a person that always comes out whenever the time or whenever it's a time or whenever it is needed. And I think some have it, the quality within themselves by birth, and some develop it over the period of time due to the influence they have with the people around them. So yeah, that's leadership for me.
Wow, that's nice. So, Pavan, tell me, what differentiates a leader from a manager?
I think this is something everybody knows. I mean, nowadays we are in a social media presence, like we have Instagram, Facebook, and you have a lot of motivational quotes. You have a lot of posts and memes going on, which say what does a manager does and what does a leader does. And I think most of them already know this. If you ask me my personal opinion, I would say manager is somebody who is looking at a very short-sighted goal to just get get done with the current situation, to just handle the current situation, somehow manage that. But leader is somebody who tries to go deep into it, try to do a root cause analysis, like what is causing this, and the leader is somebody who addresses the cause, and even better, he or she is someone who will try to make the whole community or that system immune from that causing it again. If you want me to say an example with this, let's say let's take a regular normal politicians, or maybe how if your constituency leader is actually leader or manager. Now when there is a road laid in your lane or in your street, and then let's say that due to the lack of quality within the materials of the tar or the cement, the road has got disrupted again due to the rains. Now, what does a manager does? He just lays another road again on that with the same material, just but a new road. That's it. Until next time it arrives. But a leader is somebody who will go back and see why is the road being ruptured that quickly, and ensures that the quality is improved in a way that this problem doesn't occur again. So if you understand, a manager is someone who tries to just handle the situation temporarily and get rid of it. But leader is somebody who tries to make sure that this doesn't come again and has a long-term vision towards it.
Oh, so it means someone who goes to the actual root cause and tries to fix it from there.
Yes, technically that's you can say that. That's right.
Oh, great. So, what are the skills that one need to possess to become a strong leader?
I don't think there is a particular skill set because this is when I say it's a quality. This is something, if you think what I believe or what made me be a leader in some instances is, the first one would be the selflessness. Okay, being selfless, which I mean by that, I'm not asking you to sacrifice everything you have, but basically, when you come to a situation, you would first think about the benefit of others above yours. So the people or the community or even anybody who's dependent or who's looking up to you, who's relying on you, you are putting them, their benefits, or the whole team benefits above your benefit. So that selflessness is the key to think properly as a leader, or to actually progress towards being a good strong leader. And second thing would be, I think, believing in the right thing, because a right decision might not always be perceived as the right decision by everyone around you. So sometimes the lies or the false things or even the wrong decision seems apt and preferred for everyone, and they are convinced. And the right decision, when you take it, you might face the consequences, like a backfire and everything. But in that is the toughest part of being a leader, where you know that you took a decision for the good, for a greater good of everyone, and not everybody sees it. So believing in yourself and backing yourself up that you did the right thing, as long as your intention and the thought process of putting above others interest above you is right, I think you can believe in yourself and back yourself. I think these are two main things that definitely helps. There are a lot of others, but for me, the selflessness and believing in your process and the decision making is important.
Wow, that's nice, Pavan. So now that you spoke about the skills or qualities that one has to possess to become a strong leader, let me put a follow-up question to you on this. What are the different styles of leadership?
To be honest, I was not that aware of what are the different styles of leadership one can possess. I think I had leaders whom I looked up to. I had leaders whom I spoke to. I've been watching leaders on various platforms of television or in other communications mass media. But until I joined Toastmasters, I haven't actually got the idea that leadership can be categorized. And after that, I realized that there is different styles of leadership, like altruistic, you have democratic, you have bureaucratic, you have pace setting kind of leadership. And yeah, there are a few more as well. I'm not entirely sure of the list of the things, but yeah, from the Toastmasters journey, what I had, these were the few categories. But again, there are many categories the leadership skills are defined into. But if you ask me like what which style is the best, it's not about which style is the best. The leadership styles come into picture as and when there is a necessity of that particular style. So leadership style is not one way that these steps you follow or this thought process will lead you to it, but a sense of assessment of the current situation around you, what's happening around you, and accordingly, you need to make sure that the right set of leadership is taken care. So that's about the styles of leadership.
Okay, okay, that's true. I agree on that. So, what is your style of leadership?
Well, that's again a mix and match, but if you ask me my style of leadership, I would always let me just narrate one incident where in one of the Toastmasters, when the first time I applied for a leadership role called area director, there was a panel of three members, and there was just one woman who asked me this question: what is your style of leadership? And then I had no idea whatsoever what was even talking about. I didn't know that leadership has styles. I thought leadership itself was a style at that time. And then she gave an example that is bureaucratic or democratic or everything. And then I said only one thing, that I'm not sure which style I possess, but I am always with the people who rely on me, who trust me, or who are dependent on me. I walk with them. before them, not after them, but I always try to walk with them. So I think that might fall into multiple categories or a single category, but yeah, in my own definition, that's my leadership style.
Superb. I think that's a simple answer, yet a wise answer, I can say, at the same time, an apt answer that I was looking for.
Thank you. Should I say
Okay.
that? Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, why not? All right. Uh, Pavan, now that you were talking about your style of leadership, and you were saying about a leadership role like an area director, let me ask you another question. Like, how did you master this art of leadership?
Oh, no, no, no. Nobody masters this art of leadership. I would disagree with that if anybody says that they have mastered the art of leadership, because it's a quality that keeps on. What should I say? Keeps on evolving. Let me just get this straight. None of the days we live are the same. Do you agree with me?
Yes, of course.
Each day is different from it in its very own way. What happens today is different from what happens yesterday, and it is the same case since the day we are born. And if every day seems to be the same, then we would master the art of living a life because we know what to do at what point of time because every day is same. But that's not the case, right? So similarly, we come across different situations, different scenarios, and many other conflicts in daily lives. Can be with our loved ones, can be with our families, can be with our professional co-workers, or maybe your friends. And those something you don't see them, you don't foresee all those conflicts. You respond to them as and when they come to you. So nobody masters it. But let me just ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you have settled or you spoke to someone or you tried to uh, make peace with some conflict, but then at the end you had a regret that I could have done this one better?
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
sometimes or every time.
Maybe
Like,
sometimes, not every
yeah,
time. Yeah.
because for me it's every time, because I cannot handle every situation as perfectly that I have no regret. I'm 100% satisfied that there is nothing better I can do from that. No, there's always something better I can do, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
so that kind of uh, that kind of improvement, that scope is there, right, where you feel that you can do better, is what make you take that another small stride to evolve. So the mastering the leadership, it is, I would say, people who have seen very less, they might look up to you and say that you have mastered it. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, but only that leader knows what is his or her weakness and what are the areas of improvement that he or she must improve. It might not be visible to the external people, but that person surely knows they do have weaknesses, because even leaders are human beings. They are also vulnerable, and they just try to keep embrace that vulnerability and try to improve every day. So nobody masters it, but I can say that where it starts all the time, it starts with our own family. You know that.
Oh, okay.
Let me, if you have, say you are the breadwinner for your family, yeah, your
Mhm.
parents and your sibling is there, and then you got a 3,000 bucks of bonus, right? Now what will you do there? Will you buy a good Zara or good proper branded clothing, apparel, or a headphones or something for yourself? Or will you take your family out for dinner, spend a good time with them, show them a mall, and have a good evening?
I prefer the second option.
You prefer the second option, right? Because
Yes.
in that case, when you say you prefer second option, you are putting your family's bonding, your family's happiness above yours, you know?
Yes.
So that quality itself is leadership. You lead your family, you lead your lives. It starts by you leading your life, then slowly you lead your family, and then that expands and you lead the community around you. And should you go to for the further steps, you will lead the maybe the city, the town, the country, the world maybe. So that's how leadership starts. And we all learn it from our fathers, our parents, my mothers and fathers, the elderly people who always sacrificed their likes and their interest for our happiness, right? So
Yes.
we all have our leaders from the childhood that we look up to. And I think it starts from our own family. And everybody has one leader at least in their family.
Wow, you just brought all together a different perception and idea here. At least I never thought of it that leadership evolves from our families itself. That's an amazing example, Pavan.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay. So now that we even spoke about Toastmasters in one of our conversations so far.
Mhm.
So let me put you another question. Like, share with us your experience and journey of leadership in Toastmasters.
Well, the journey of leadership in Toastmasters, well, Toastmasters certainly had made a huge difference in my life. I should admit that no matter where I go, because I joined Toastmasters for just one reason. I used to have this anxiety and what do you call this, glossophobia, the fear of public speaking. And it's not just in front of crowds, but even if I have to express my opinion in my family gatherings, I used to have the stuttering and stammering problems. My anxiety used to cause that, and my pace of speech was so fast that people can't even understand the words that I'm speaking. So to reduce that, I joined Toastmasters, and I loved it there. That is one platform where you experiment, explore, and enhance yourself. And my leadership journey started in 2015 when I did not expect to be leader. Honestly, I'll tell you, because the the one of the leaders in that in that term of the district, they have asked me to apply for the role. I clearly said, in fact, I clearly told them on the face that I don't think I will be able to proceed in the leadership journey. And that person was like, I'm not asking you to step into the leadership. I'm asking you to just apply for the role. There is still a panel interview and other lot of activities. So applying is no harm. And I believed his words. And no, not that he's bad. He has done a lot of good. He has given a lot of guidance to me in the subsequent years. But I just applied, and all I did was I was being very, very open and bold because I was not afraid of being rejected. Because at the start I did not want to take it up, so I was okay if I'm rejected, then that's even better. So with that nothing to lose attitude, I went and gave my interview, and then surprisingly I was selected, and then I couldn't take that back. So that's how my leadership journey started. And then there are a lot of things that happened that changed my perspective towards not just the Toastmasters or within that world, but overall in a career perspective, in a personal life perspective, in the my personality growth specifically, how they have transformed me. We used to have a lot of discussions, not just about joking or chilling around. Apart from that, we used to have a lot of intense discussions about perspectives, how perspectives differ from one to other, and how one person can accommodate all those perspectives. So I think the first lesson I learned was to listen to the news or information, understand where it is coming from, who it is coming from, and why it has come in that form, basically. So until you know the full versions of it, so for a particular news or for a particular headline or a particular information you receive, there are thousands of versions. Now, unless you know every version of it, or at least most versions of it, you wouldn't know what exactly is the truth over there. Because truth is not just one version. Everybody sees the same thing in different ways. That was the first lesson. But then my leadership journey took a really, really good turn. It was not about getting awards and rewards. It's not about getting that getting that viral content or having that followers and everything, but it was more of a growth in personality for me. Due to that, my professional office job has become really really fruitful, and never ever I had dared to go forward and implement that in my life, whatever I learned in Toastmasters. But for the first time, I went for the auditions of doing or hosting my company day event, and they had auditions. I took the courage, and I from the learnings I went there. I gave the auditions. I got selected, and I ended up hosting my company's company day. That is for 3,000 people in high tech city in Hyderabad, and that was my first ever grand event. I would never thought I would be able to do that. So this is one of the push that gave, and subsequently there are a lot of there are a lot of beautiful people I met, and there are a lot of beautiful uh, discussions happened, and I also got to mentor a lot of people in my office life, at the same time in my professional life and in my personal life as well. And the growth it showed not the growth showed in me was not visible to me, but it was visible from people's words, people around me who saw me grow, right? So they were telling me about how my perspective or maturity has improved from. And I think all I owe it to the Toastmasters leadership experience they have given it to me in various levels.
Wow, that's amazing, Pavan. I think that's the perfect example of how Toastmasters can bring the change in our personal and professional lives. That's good. So now that you were talking about the brighter side of these things on leadership in Toastmasters and everything, let me come up with the next question as this way. What are the challenges that you experienced in your journey of leadership and how did you overcome them?
Right. The challenges, yes, leadership is not a fairy tale story. Leadership is not about in fact, when I said that family example, or when I said that a small road example, it sounded very simple, isn't it? But in the real life scenarios, when you actually are in the shoes of a leader, it's not that simple. It's very complicated, because one decision you make, for every decision there is 50% people who are in favor of your decision, who respect your decision, who understand it, and 50% who doesn't understand it, or they hate it, or even they even become your enemies. So that is what the leadership carries about. It's like every word you speak, there are 50% who like it and 50% who doesn't like it. So this is how it is. And that's where the challenge starts from. And being a leader in Toastmasters also, there were a lot of people with different perspectives. The very basic parameter for a conflict is having a difference in perspective or understanding, right? That is where the conflict starts. So conflicts with people was the major thing in leadership. And especially when you talk about democratic leadership, where your primary goal is nothing but to have the consensus of everyone as a team before going forward. Now that becomes even more harder, because if few of them or two of them are not agreeing with your point. So there are a lot of people who have, I'm not saying they are bad, but they had their own perspective and they are right according to their perspective. But it is just that process of communicating it to them that yes, even they are right, but can we come to a common consensus? So that process is the challenge. So it is not a person who's good or bad, but it is the issue that is the enemy. It is the misunderstandings. Those are the bad guys over there, not the person. So that is where, as a leader should also possess the correct communication skills. That's why they say, every leader has great communication skills, but not the other way around. Because as a leader, you need to also strike the consensus with your team or group or community. So that process of resolving conflicts, dealing with different sets of people with different what should I say, perspectives from where they come from. I think that was the major challenge I had in my leadership journey, not just in Toastmasters, even in my office life as well. Conflicts are always there. It's all about how you try to resolve it. And one of the major things, I think one of my idols in Toastmasters, he mentioned that uh, when you have a conflict, isolate the issue from the person, because the enemy is not the person who's coming up with the conflict. The enemy is the actual conflict, the issue itself. So you need to isolate that. The person is not your enemy, because often we tend to speak harsh words so that we can win in a discussion or an argument against the person. Maybe we might even take a dig at his or her personal life that we know. So that is not the process to resolve a conflict. You need to isolate the conflict first. That person is not your enemy, but the conflict. So these kind of realizations, this kind of the process to make sure that this thing is implemented and you try to resolve it is the major challenge in leadership. Because if everybody is in favor of it and everything is there, no matter how hard the work is, it will be done because everybody is working passionately. But the hardest part is when you have people who oppose it, or when you have people who have different kind of perspectives. That is when you need to reach to a consensus before going forward. So that's the challenge.
Well said, Pavan. I'm sure this will have a positive impact on the listeners. Uh,
Thank you.
so,
Hopefully.
uh, yeah. So, keeping that impact aside, let me put my last question to you in this way. What is the impact of leadership on an individual's career and life?
Well, I can surely say that there was a lot of impact uh, of leadership in individuals' career in life. I'm not saying that again. I go back to the first point I mentioned. So this is not something that you take it as a responsibility and it shows its impact and it goes away. But this is a quality within. So as soon as you develop that quality, and it is not something that visible that you identify, okay, this point I'm developing leadership skills. No, you can't say that. It just comes in without your notice, and people around you notice that, not you, basically. That is the, I would say, magic, or I would say that is the trick. But when you evolve, you wouldn't know because you are seeing yourself daily. As the English saying goes, right? A watched pot never boils. So people around you who see you in your regular activities, they can identify it. So to start with leadership, when you say the quality within you is evolving, it shows immediately in your individual lives. It shows immediately in your professional life as well. You are more confident. You think about the members around you. You put others above you, and that will give you a lot of people around you who will respect. First of all, they respect you, they believe in you, and they show confidence and trust in you because you have proven them that you are somebody who thinks for the greater good of the team or the members or others around you, and you're not selfish. So that is the immediate impact that shows for an individual in office or even in your family. They show trust and respect in you. I think that is the major things. And as you go to higher levels of maybe a leader leading a community or a state or a country or maybe on an international stage, yeah, it again, the impact and the difference is at a larger scale. So that differs. So depending on the kind of margin or the kind of people, the magnitude of the atmosphere is what decides how big of a change you can see in a person or how big of a transformation it can have, right? But it will always have a transformation, just that the magnitude is small at a small family level. But you look at the various levels, that will always be evolving as well. But it is always there, the change.
That's nice, Pavan. So, just one message for our listeners with respect to this art of leadership.
So one message, if you ask me, I would say everybody is a leader. Everyone is a leader, but the hardest part in in that is to maintain that. So when I say people put above everyone else than themselves, that is very hard to implement in every situation, right? Because sacrificing is not easy, or trying to put your happiness behind than compared to others is not easy. But that will be a greater and more happiest feeling of all. And I'm not saying to just do that for everyone and everywhere, but you are a better you are a better judge for your life. And I would say that you know when to put that, but make sure this quality is always developed and evolved in you, keeping others happiness, others benefit, others welfare in your mind above yours. I'm sure you'll be a great personality that even I might look up to you. That's the only thing I would say.
Wow. Thank you, Pavan. Thank you so much for that amazing message.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So now it's time for us to move on to our short yet sweet segment, the rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yes, I guess I should be right.
Yes, you should be ready.
Right.
Okay. My first question to you, Pavan, in the rapid fire round, leader or manager?
I think what I spoke till now, if I choose manager, I think I'll be killed. So it should be a leader, obviously. Yes.
Okay, great. But of course, if it's your choice, we respect that.
No, I
Okay.
lose my credibility, right? If I talk about leadership and my experience and I say manager, and then that's it. I lost all my credibility. My foundations are weak.
Okay. So my next question to you. Leadership in Toastmasters or out of Toastmasters?
I would say both, because Toastmasters is not an arena where you actually achieve. Toastmasters is a platform where you learn and develop those skills. So I think both, just that Toastmasters is more like a net practice, and out of Toastmasters in your real life is actually the real stadium or the match you play and you perform. So both, you learn in Toastmasters, you perform in real life.
Okay. Democratic leadership or transformational leadership?
Again, this is not something that I would choose. I would say that it is safe, or I think everybody would basically, with their instincts, they would choose a democratic leadership, because when you're trying something new, you never try to be leading a community or people consciously. In that case, people try to get everyone's consensus before they can move forward, right? That is the safest way to go, and that is what democratic leadership is all about. So everybody starts with democratic leadership, but slowly steadily, when they become confident, they will become a transformational leader as well. I think one evolves to other.
Oh, that's a wise answer. Great. Motivation in words or rewards?
Well, I personally believe if you are motivated because of the rewards that would come by, then I would say the basic purpose of you putting effort is not right. Because when you go for rewards, then your purpose of doing something is not to reach the end goal or destination, but to grab the rewards that come by on the way. So that is not correct. At the same time, motivation in words itself is not enough, and I would say motivation in words is useless if you don't act and actually do it. Anyway, motivation itself means that making other people to act by pushing them through words. But yes, unless you don't put it in action, it doesn't work.
Okay. So you mean to say neither?
No, I would say though, it's not a binary kind of zero or one, but they have their own conditions in between. So it's conditional, I would say. Rewards, definitely
Okay.
neither. Definitely no. Definitely no.
Yeah,
But motivation in words, it's conditional. If they act on it, that's better. If they don't, then it's useless, no matter how many motivational words you give them.
true. I agree with you once again. Okay. So passionate leader or courageous leader?
Now, this is something I find it really funny, because passionate people are someone, the one thing that, forget about the leaders, people who are passionate about something, they are the ones who show most of the courage amongst everyone else. Because when you're passionate about something, you would not fear the same factor that common people fear. You love to play bold, go forward. So
True.
a passionate leader is always a courageous leader. It's not, there's nothing to choose between one.
Okay. So my next question to you, lion or tiger?
I have no idea why this. I have to choose between lion and tiger. I mean, is there any
Bec-
personality
yeah.
assessment test going on? Some isotropic
No,
attitude
nothing
test?
as such. See, this rapid fire round is just for a fun segment, a kind of fun segment. See, you see, usually lion is called the king of jungle. Maybe more or less tiger also have some powers like that. So that's the reason I wanted you to choose. And we are talking about the leader or the king, someone like that. So that's the reason on that basis I just put this question.
Okay. Okay. At least I'm happy that you didn't put two past leaders' names in the history to choose. That would be like very, very difficult for me. Right. I think I'll go with lion because not because lion is the king of the jungle, but I personally feel very much fascinated. I mean, when you look at the lion and when I look at its face and the way it carries itself, like there is something royal about it. There is something you can take away from that as an attitude, to be a better person or be a bold person. I think I love that look, and I love that factor in the lion, so I think maybe I go with the lion.
Okay. I thought somewhere that you would go for liger.
Oh, no, I'm not that creative person to invent new version animals. No. I lack creativity, sorry.
No, don't say that. I can't agree on that. We can have a separate discussion on this.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, because I know you as a creative person. That's the reason. All right. The leader in a state or a country.
I wouldn't see much of a I wouldn't see much of a difference, because if you look at that leader in a state or a country, yes, the magnitude or the scale at which you have to perform, or you have to take up the responsibilities, or the burden is higher in the country. But again, the thought process, the attitude, or that leader, the core feeling or the core attitude is the same. So if it's just about state or country, I would choose country because it's a bigger thing, and there's a lot more that we can evolve into. Yeah, leader in a country.
Okay, that's good. Cool leader or serious leader?
Well, I don't understand cool leader or serious leader, because does that mean that cool leaders are not serious, or is that serious leaders are not all cool? They're like aggressive also.
Maybe, yeah, you can say aggressive, or someone who is always serious. It is not that serious outside. It is not that the cool leaders or someone like who are serious from inside, but outside they would be cool. Maybe you can take
Mhm.
my question in that way. Serious leaders or someone who are always serious out and in.
Okay, okay. No, given my style of it, not as a leader, but as a person, I'm not a serious person at all. I'm more into having that jovial conversations. I love friendly and humorous environments. So I would go for a cool leader, and I also really admire Mahendra Singh Dhoni in this aspect as well, because we I personally also play cricket in terms of the clubs, or maybe in few local clubs or anything. So if not for the highest level, I know that feeling, how when you walk into the field and in the middle of the pitch, to stand there and face a bowler and bat. So with nobody in the audience itself, I know the sense of pressure you have to perform. Now, when you say you have like 130 million people on your head looking at you and cheering for you, and then if one thing goes wrong, you have to face the consequence. The kind of ice cold uh, levels he has shown is incredible. I mean, I have no idea how this guy deals with this, but yeah, I would definitely go for a cool leader.
Okay, my next question: confident leader or strong leader?
And again, I don't know whether I'm not trying to make a statement over here, but if I look at it, leaders are always confident. They appear confident because the very fact that they pull their socks up and turn up to the job or task, or everything, is because they have the confidence. And I think, as I said at the start, one of the two qualities was selflessness and belief in themselves. Right? No matter if no matter what the consequences are, can be against them or can be in favor of them, but they believe in themselves and take a step forward. That is one of the major steps. So one is they need the confidence to do that. And also leaders who take that brave step for moving forward and ready to face any circumstances, they are confident and they're also perceived as strong leaders. So I would say one of the key qualities to be a strong leader is to be confident. So again, here also, it one contributes to the other.
Okay. So you choose the both. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pavan, my last question to you in the rapid fire round. This is something that I really like. Let's see what you're going to say.
Mhm.
Giridhar, Pavan.
Oh, I should choose one of the two.
That's up to you. You can choose one, you can choose two, you can choose neither.
Okay. So Giridhar, I respect you a lot. I like you a lot as a person, but I think I will choose myself. Uh, I'm good. I'm happy for what I am today, and I love what I am. And then I think I would like to continue that. I don't want to shift or exchange bodies or personalities with anybody else.
Okay. That's fine. Absolutely fine. No worries in that.
Yeah,
Great.
sure.
Thank you so much for being with us on this podcast, Pavan. We look forward to having you once again in future.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Giridhar. I hope I did not mess up because the first time I'm doing a podcast.
No, I
And
don't
yeah,
think
it
so.
was really fun and interactive.
Yeah, I don't think so. In fact, I believe we really did it well.
Sounds good. And thank you so much. And yeah, all the best for your podcast initiative. And I wish you go more viral and famous so that one day I'll say that I know this person.
Sure, I just hope so. Thank you so much for all the good wishes and also for being here once again.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All the best and take care.
Yeah. That's it for today, listeners. Hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. See you.